Solar radiation management, chemtrails, lack of blue sky, grid lines. Attention all police chiefs, military, peace officers, every authority. You are requested, you are commanded to do whatever you can to stop the spraying.
So I'm going to ask you to do one other thing, and that is question authority.
Be prepared to answer questions. Who is spraying us? How are we being sprayed? Listen on.
Blocking the sun is an inhumane act on a population. An inhumane act on a population is a crime against humanity.
Look how chemtrails form, how they block the sun. First you see the lines, then they start spreading out, and then they spread out more. The spraying continues, they spread out more, until eventually you have total sun blockage. For over 1 year now where I live, we have had always something in the sky, never a clear blue sky and sun the whole day. For over 1 year. An accessory is a person who assists in the commissioning of a crime, but who does not actually participate in the commission of the crime as a joint principal. This video is about exposing how chemtrail spraying is done. Meet your sprayers. Negligence is a failure to exercise the care that a reasonable, prudent person would exercise in like circumstances. So many people have taken hundreds of millions of pictures of chemtrails, probably in the billions of pictures, all doing the work of police and those who are supposed to protect us. They have been negligent in protecting us. Many speculate that chemicals are entered into the aircraft by way of the unit load devices or the modified unit load devices, ULDs. They're loaded in, people are just doing their job, any special connections are made as required, and nobody knows what's being transported. The pilot only cares how much weight he's pulling. Nobody knows. And the turning on and off of the chemtrails is very likely remote controlled by satellites. Police officers, police chiefs, military, politicians, Governor General, all won't take the criminal complaint and won't act to protect us from the spraying of populations or overpopulations by aircraft. So, let's learn from Special Forces jets, special jets. They're not special forces, they're military jets. Let's see what we can learn from them. Take a look at the pictures, take a look at the exhaust, and look at the piping right at the exhaust. This is the biggest clue, because these engines are not producing any kind of trail except when chemicals are fed into the pipes at the rear. This is how commercial jets also produce chemtrails. It's the same principle, and you'll be looking at the nozzles on and off here in this video. Bodily harm means any hurt or injury to a person that interferes with the health or comfort of the person, and that is more than merely transient or trifling in nature. I would say many of us are affected. We're discomforted by the chemtrail spraying. Look at the panel on the pylon here. It's modified. It's a different color. It's as if a car had a fender change and they didn't paint the fender the same color as the rest of the vehicle. What you see here is nozzles a different color and the skin a different color. apparently there's a change, modification. Perfect place, right in line with jet output exhaust. The nozzles are at the exhaust, or at the in line with exhaust output. Perfect place to make it look like regular, normal jet emissions, which they are not. I'm a little scared to get into this because of the magnitude of the forces here at work, but the largest military armed forces is controlled by a family, and they are not even doing anything to stop it. In fact, they're the ones who initiated the solar radiation management idea about blocking the sun. Let's get into some criminal acts. The Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes Act. Every person is guilty of an indictable offense who commits A, genocide, B, crime against humanity, or C, a war crime. This is section 4.1 of the Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes Act. And every person who commits an offense under subsection, the ones I just read, shall be sentenced to life imprisonment if there's intentional killings, or if there's a killing, and liable to imprisonment for life in any other case. Either way, it's life in prison. This is the Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes Act, Section 4 of that act. Basically a criminal offense. Crime against humanity means murder, extermination, enslavement, deportation, imprisonment, torture, sexual violence, persecution, or any other inhumane act or omission that is committed against any civilian population. I won't read the rest, I've said enough. This is an act or omission against any civilian population. That means some of the people I've mentioned in this video, as well as others who fail to act to stop this, have committed crimes against humanity. I urge everyone to prosecute them by going to the police or going to some other policing or security agency. And if you get nowhere with that, go to your local courthouse and file an information for a private prosecution.
Just following orders won't fly, and neither should any of us until the chemtrail spraying is stopped. What's really interesting is the Civil Air Navigation Services Commercialization Act. Section 3, this act is binding on Her Majesty and right of Canada or a province. Section 4, this act applies in respect of every aircraft in Canadian airspace or any other airspace in respect of which Canada has responsibility for the provision of air traffic control services. If you didn't get that, play this part back again. I'm just going to sit back and relax and watch the video along with you. Just look at the pictures, look at the nozzles, make your own determination. There's going to be many areas in this video where there's complete silence. Focus on the pictures and focus on stopping this.
So let's enjoy some more pictures of these special planes. Look at the nozzles at the output. When they're turned on, you see the trails. And these planes are at low altitude, so there should never be a trail. Obviously, these are show planes, but they do the same thing. Just take a look. Look at the nozzles at the output of the exhaust. This is the biggest clue.
Let's talk about the high bypass turbofan jet engine. The high bypass turbofan jet engine basically just pushes air out the back, provides very little thrust from the actual engine itself. Almost 90% of the thrust is just from air being blown out the back. Almost the same as one of those Everglades airboat. Not the same, but similar, because it uses air as its thrust. And not combusted air. Forced air from the fan.
The sun is essential for all life on Earth. Nobody should be playing God on a population. Look at the nozzles in line at the output of the exhaust. That's a perfect place. That's how the chemtrails are done. Very likely. It's the perfect place. It looks like it could be from there. There's nozzles there. The drawings don't show the exact location of where all the pipings go when you've seen some of the drawings.
Well, good morning, graduates. Our platform guests, who aren't on a platform, by the way, and the parents who are so proud today of all the work you've done. And I want to say, beyond the fact that you've already created somewhat of a foundation of your life as you graduate today, you've got, as Paul says, a lot of opportunity ahead of you. But Paul referred to a recent election where we elected a lot of young people into the parliament of this country. And it's about time that there weren't always just old men in blue suits down there. And we had 4 young people elected from McGill. So you can imagine their ages. They're around 20, 21, 22. And it's one of the best things that has happened to our parliament in years. And I'm going to ask you to do one thing. I know you've got excitement ahead of you in the next few days. And once you get down the road a little bit, I want you to consider why Canada is such a great, great country. It's because we take care of each other, we look out for each other. So I'm going to ask you to do one other thing, and that is question authority. Question people like myself when we make decisions in the Parliament. Question people like Paul, or even the school board. Your duty is
Your duty is to stop this if you see this. Your duty is to determine the criminal code violation because no other security or policing agency is interested in dealing with this. Your duty is to stop this. Your duty is to report this to the police. Your duty is to report this to every security agency that's responsible for public safety. And your duty is to prosecute them. Now, yes, I'm scared, you're scared, many are scared. But work together with each other, taking the most babyest of steps, and sometimes huge steps. Let those who are brave do so with information that you can help to provide, like example, actual criminal code violations, criminal code sections, the wording, the technical ways of getting into prosecuting somebody, or even a private arrest or a citizen's arrest. Pretty much a citizen's arrest, all you have to do is if you see a peace officer or police officer failing to act, you don't tap them on the shoulder, you don't touch them, but basically it's like, hey buddy, you're under arrest, and you're under arrest for the following criminal code offense, and you read the criminal code offense from the act, and therefore they're under arrest, and if they resist, that's lawful, that's arrest is resisting a lawful arrest. Hopefully that's not a problem. And what you do is you have them taken to a police officer or a peace officer or a military person to process their crime. Now be careful of this here. This is very dangerous. It could be very dangerous. It could also be very easy too, because all you're asking is, sir, you're under arrest. This is the criminal code violation that you've committed, and I'm placing you into the custody of another officer, maybe a police officer or a military officer or whatever. Be very careful. But your duty and my duty is to stop this and to share peace and love throughout the world. Anything else is garbage. Just look at it. Everything else costs a lot of money. Peace and love and harmony is free. It's easy. Life becomes easy. That's our duty.
So I'm going to ask you to do one other thing, and that is question authority.